What's up, everyone? Jeremy Majors here with Majors Academy Dog Training out of Green Bay, Wisconsin. And it is December 10th, 2025. And yeah, we're here once again to answer questions of all kinds. Just help you out with some dog training. I feel like there's things that people need to know, that people get, that people don't necessarily understand. And this is why I titled this episode The Biggest Behavior That People Do Not Understand. But before we do get into that, you guys can ask me any questions that you like at any time and interrupt me, and we'll answer your question. And if this live helps one person, this is my new thing. If this live helps one person, then it's worth it. I don't care if 20 people are watching, 30, 100, 1,000. If what I am doing helps one person, then it's worth it. All right. So let's get into the topic. The topic is the biggest behavior dog owners, new dog owners, and I've had some experienced dog owners misunderstand this. But this behavior is very misunderstood. It is very, it's, I would say it's one of the most, because every single dog that I train, I have to help them with this behavior. And so, again, I really wanted to talk about it because every household that I walk into, every dog that comes in contact with me, and all the owners say the same thing about this behavior. So I don't know where they're getting their information from, or if they heard it from somewhere or someone, but it is not what you think it is. And it should be stopped. It should be helped. It should be improved to achieve balance. The reason why it's one of the most important is because it leads to a lot of bad behavior. Well, we might as well talk about it. But again, before that, those of you who are watching, please feel free to give me any questions you like. Doesn't matter. As long as it involves dogs, I got an answer for you. All right? Okay. So in plain, this behavior is excitement. I say that again. The number one behavior that owners misunderstand is excitement. Okay. Every owner that I come across and their dog is out of control, they label that behavior excitement. Well, to the average dog owner, it does look like excitement, but it's not just excitement. It is out of control behavior via owner and the need to control via dog. I'm going to say that again. Overly excited dogs are out of control via owner, and the dog's need to control via behavior insecurity. All right. So for example, you walk into the house, or people walk into your house and your dog greets them. Everyone thinks and everyone says, oh, he's just excited, he'll settle down. Even for the dogs who can handle that and don't jump and don't bite or bark, it's still something that I would address. Um, and so when owners say, he's just excited, that's them coping and for their lack of ability to control their dog. And then a lot of owners you'll see will also say, oh, he just wants to say hi. No, he doesn't. And then some owners will say, yeah, he does, because I mean, he just says hi and then he walks away. Well, not healthy. Not every dog is going to be able to do that. Not every dog is going to be able to handle that. That's when I get those phone calls that say, I've had dogs in the past be fine, but for some reason, this dog decides to bite or bark or jump. Well, it is because you allowed insecurity to climb up too high. And so when I say that your dog, if your dog greets people and you every time you walk through the door, like it's something that they can't help, it's not just happiness. It's also driven by insecurity. And you can even maybe label it obsession. But it's something that you should help your dog through, whether they bite or not, whether they jump or not, whether they bark or not. You should stop your dog from going up to the door every time somebody or something or someone comes through your door for their mental health. It is not good for the dog to think it's okay to bombard people at the door. It's obnoxious. Don't let your dog be obnoxious. Again, we want to build dogs who want to leave people with the impression that they want your dog or they want a dog because of how well your dog behaves. That should be a good goal for you. Your dog isn't just for you. Your dog is also a part of the community, and it will either take people away from owning dogs or wanting to own dogs, and in some cases, not wanting to visit you because you have an obnoxious dogs. Or your dogs can behave well and be good citizens of the world and promote how awesome it is to have a dog. So my goal is to have the best of both worlds, where you can enjoy your dog, but also the outside world can enjoy your dog. There are plenty of people who don't have family over, who lose friendships, who even lose connections with family because of their obnoxious dog. And they only because they think it's coming from a place where they allow certain behaviors to just grow and grow and grow until it becomes the type of dog that won't let certain people in your house, don't like certain people, don't like certain kids, don't like certain dogs. Then they have a list. So Becky says, my kids don't come to my house. Well, see, perfect example. If you have 10 rescue dogs, then they have to be in a kennel. I mean, you basically have a kennel, right? And then when your kids come to your house, so here's another big thing that I would like people to know is, and this is where, again, a lot of people make this mistake. You don't have to have your dogs out when people come over. Have your best dog out, your dog that knows how to handle or can handle, usually be an older, mature dog, right? But your dogs don't have to be out when your company is over. Yeah, they can be put up. There's no net negative to having a dog that has to be put up, because 99% of the time the dog then is out. But that 1%, when people come over and your dog isn't ready for it, you're actually doing more damage if you're allowing your dog to have access to all these things, all these people, all this noise, all this celebration, and he's not ready. He or she is not ready. Too young or too immature. So those of you who are watching, please feel free to ask any question you like. I am live on YouTube and Facebook. And interrupt me with a question. Okay. But okay, back to it. Once again, it is okay to put your dog up when people are over. There's nothing negative that's going to happen. Actually, it can be all positive if we then put them up, put them in a crate, and then make sure that they are quiet in that crate. Step number one, and getting your dog, getting your family back, getting your friends back. They have to know that they're not involved. The world doesn't revolve around them. They don't have a say in what goes on in your house. You do. It's your house. So they can't dictate what goes on in your house or in who comes through. Because if they do, then they have too big of an ego, and they start to treat humans like dogs, barking at them, jumping at them, growling and biting them. All right. So there should be that distinction between humans and dogs, right? We have different needs, and if we treat dogs like humans, then they will treat us like dogs. And so it's okay to put your animal up. Get them their exercise, get them their attention the day before or the morning of, so that they can be tired, sleep, be good. Let them be peaceful away. Don't let them be involved in that stuff. You know what I mean? It is okay when people come over. I have 3 dogs, two golden retrievers and a Great Dane. My dogs are up because I don't want to have to deal with it. And there will be totally okay when they're not out. All right. Sometimes I bring them out, but not in the beginning. My dogs aren't greeting people. I don't let them greet people because it's on my terms. And then when it's on my terms, they feel safe instead of greeting a stranger and thinking that you have to go over there. No, you don't, because I let them in. It's different if the dog doesn't know, or it's different if someone breaks in or if someone comes in unannounced or whatnot. It's just important that they know you are in charge of the territory, not them. They can't dictate what goes on in your territory, but they can't think it's theirs. It's yours. Okay. All right. Got a question. Barissa, I hope I said that right. Barissa says, how do you expose your dog safely to those situations of having people over kids' things outside of their normal environments that they're not used to? Are you saying, just to be clear, are you asking how to expose them away from your home or in your home? Because there's 2 different approaches, and kind of not really. I mean, if you want to expose your dog to a different environment, first and foremost, make sure, this would be my opinion. Okay, you can go about it in 2 ways. The first way I would highly recommend, but the dog needs a safe space wherever it goes. And that safe space can be a crate, a dog crate. The safe space can be the dog crate. And also your leadership is their safe. It brings them safe. I used to bring my dog wherever I wanted to go. Doesn't matter. But he knew when I said go lay down, that brought him, he didn't have to investigate. He didn't have to worry about who was here, where am I, doesn't matter. When I said certain commands and he listened, it brought him that level of comfort to where he was like, I'm good. I mean, and so over and over again, you won't have to have that certain level of control. But in the beginning, you have to have the right amount of control to get the dog to understand that your comfort, your security, it can run through me. You have to be able to trust me. And the way that you build that is making sure you follow through with your commands, making sure that you don't put up with things and behaviors that annoy you, making sure that you don't make excuses for annoying behavior, because they're going to consume space as much as some dogs are just more pushy about consuming more space. And then they will act naughty if something threatens that, if that's an option for them. Okay. So um, if you want to type down whether it's in your place or not, I give you a little bit more specific answer. But in general, control has to be there first. And this is for people who want to move with their dog too. If you want to move with your dog, like you're moving to another house and you're worried about them getting stressed out. Again, I used to actually be a mover while in college. So I'm familiar with even how to, you know, give other people advice. But this is what I would do. I would pull up to the my new house or new location. I had to move a lot. I had 3 pit bulls, and some of the landlords were crazy. But I would immediately set up their dog crates where I was going to set their dog crates up, put them in the crate, and then move things inside and out of the house. So again, showing that control in the new environment sets the tone for the new environment, that you don't even have to worry or act paranoid or try to figure out, oh, this is a new environment, let me figure this out, and all that stress. No, you don't have to worry about that. Your comfort is through me, not the environment. And I think a lot of dogs would benefit, a lot of owners would benefit from that way of thinking. Environment should be secondary to your relationship with your dog. Therefore, you can take them anywhere and they will be okay. I mean, that's how therapy dogs are built, or service dogs are built. They're supposed to be. They're supposed to be able to. They don't. Service dog trainers don't have a million different environments to put the dog through. That's not what's most important. Is it important? Yes. The most important, though, is that the dog listen and calm down when given a certain command. But that opens up your world. If you have that relationship, you can take the dog to the vet and not worry. You can take the dog to wherever and you say, lay down. And if the dog does it with reliability, that's the first step in getting a dog used to every environment you want to put it through. All right. Great question. I appreciate the referring to things coming into their home environment. Okay. So yeah. So for you, you have to know that the dog has to know that it can't be a part of every interaction. And how you do that is, if it's let's say it's a short visit, right? An hour or so. The dog can be, it's okay if the dog is put up for the hour. Because again, what you want to start have happening is the dog can hear the door, can hear the commotion. Oh, hello, how are you? Oh, yeah. Then the hugs and this and that, and not be in between that, not be a part of that. Because again, the dog will try to control whoever comes to that door. Even though it looks excited, it's controlling, it's obnoxious. Okay. And it also leaves room for those bad behaviors like jumping, like barking and biting. So the best way to introduce that scenario, the safest way for the dog and your owners, and your guest, is to put the dog away. Eventually, if you have a really good command of go to your bed and lay down and stay there, then that can be an option. But most people don't have that, and they don't even have the time to get that. But it starts, step one, guys, starts with how you interact with your dog when you come to the door. Do you pet that excited dog? Because you are just exacerbating the issue seriously. If the dog treats you obnoxiously, it's definitely going to treat someone it doesn't know obnoxious. Okay, so yeah, put the dog up. Again, let the dog know that you can see, smell, hear all these things going on, and you don't have to be a part of it. It does the dog a favor because now it can relax eventually. And then once the dog starts to be indifferent to those scenarios, and people walk into your house and they say, is there a dog even here? Now, that is a good point. That's a great stage that you have come to. That is a great level of dialogue, or it just means that your relationship is really good. So if my dog doesn't even get up when I walk through the door, for one, again, the dog is calm, cool, and collected, right? The dog is laying down and not getting up. And and so you've brought the dog, essentially, you alleviated that stress, happy stress, away from the dog. You've given it comfort. If you've given the dog the perspective that it doesn't have to be involved, answer the call when someone walks through that door. All right. No, I didn't talk about them yet, Becky, but I will. Okay. So Lori says, I have a 5-year-old GSD Foster. She does a low growl or runs to us when whining. Runs to us whining when people and or dogs walk past our house. How do I get her to calmly allow them to walk past our house without having to warn us? Great question. I'm going to read it again because I butchered that. I have a 5-year-old GSD Foster. She does a low growl or runs to us whining when people and or dogs walk past our house. How do I get her to calmly allow them to walk by our house without having to warn us? Good question, and it kind of goes in line to what we're talking about. It is our job, if the dog shouldn't act like there's a threat, then it is our job to show them that, in fact, you don't have to act as if someone walking past your house, someone coming through the door, is a threat. It's up to us. Okay. 5-year-old GSD Foster does a low growl. So all you have to do, well, not all you have to do, but what you have to do is give the dog something to do in those moments that it has to do. Again, easiest, well, not easiest, but best thing is to claim the area that the dog is trying to claim or dictate or control. So the outside is what the dog and people walking by. But you step in between the dog and the window and you tell the dog to go away. And then do not pet, do not praise, do not give treats. Let the dog process that you are in control. And this is exactly what I don't want you to do. Okay. So you leave the dog alone for a little bit after that, but you step in between the dog and you tell the dog, you point into the direction where you want the dog to go, and you say, go away, go on. Now, don't give up. If the dog tries to walk around you, you still are claiming that space where the dog is trying to get to bark and stuff. You claim that space. You're taking control of the environment. You're taking control of the territory, and you're showing her, teaching her that you don't have to take control. This isn't something that you need to try to control. And also be very adamant about it, because it will and can lead to other bad controlling behaviors. So if you don't want your dog to ever bite someone, if they do get out of that door, because if you allow your dog to bark out of the window at other dogs, you will risk them going out there and attacking that dog, or starting some stuff at the very least, if they ever get out. So that's step one, guys. I know there's a lot of people who have issues with the door opening and the dog bolting through the door. Well, why? Because you allowed the dog to be too controlling from inside. Bark, 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 bark at people outside that open that door. They get that opportunity. All that built up barrier frustration you allowed to have happen is going to come out, boom, and they're running, gone, not listening to you, because they finally got a chance to address what they wanted to, or that they thought they should address. So you have to get the dog to understand that if it does try to control something it shouldn't, you take control. Dogs will try and do that to themselves. You've seen it. I know you have. If you have multiple dogs in your home, you've seen this. If one dog is being overly obnoxious, the other dog will try to control it somehow, some way. Sometimes it starts a fight. But bottom line, dogs will try to control other dogs if they're becoming too obnoxious as well. And so you should do the same. All right. Okay. Great question. All right. Um, she also is a super sniffer on walks, and I'm guessing her previous owners allowed her to sniff the entire walk. She's been paying more attention to my feet and healing better, but how do I get her to focus more on me to heal? So, um, you see a lot of those dog training videos where the dog is looking up at the owner and they're healing. And I disagree with that. If you're just a normal non-working dog owner, just a companion dog owner, all you have to do is worry that the dog, or all you have to do is make sure the dog isn't focused on other things and or again constant sniffing. And then the dog will relax his head and will start to cruise along. But it needs feedback from you very consistently, very early to ever get to that point where they're just casually walking, cruising instead of having to figure it out. So the action that you should take for the whining when people walk past your house is going to pay dividends on the walk as well, because that behavior is really strong. Barking out the window is really strong behavior. It's tough to deal with. But if you can start chipping away at her, your walks will get better too, because she has to have listened to you and she knows that you take charge. Okay. So, how to get the dog to, I'm guessing you want to learn how to get the dog not to bury its head every time it walks. You'll be doing your dog a favor if you do that too, by the way, because the constant sniffing, again, is an obsessive behavior and it is driven by insecurity. And we don't want insecure dogs because they are unpredictable and dangerous. Okay. And obnoxious and annoying. Okay. So you have to have a short enough leash on the dog to be able to feel that it's a little bit uncomfortable when the dog decides to sniff. Okay, so I keep a short leash about this long. So when the dog decides to dive down and sniff, I say heel. I time it to when the dog self-corrects. So I time it so when the dog's head goes down, because I have that short leash and my hand doesn't move up and down the leash, it stays in one position. The dog will get feedback from the collar and also get feedback from your verbal command heel. And eventually, the dog will choose to the path of least resistance, which is just to keep your head up so that they don't get any verbal feedback from you and they also don't get any feedback from the collar. Okay. And depending on how determined she is, will depend on what type of collar you should have when walking. If she's big, if she's strong, if she's really hyper, then you need a working dog collar like the prong collar to help with that. Same technique though. Okay. So I hope that helped. All right. Tell the story why you started using a retractable leash. It was the pressure on the leash. Oh, well, I use retractable leashes because it gives dogs more opportunity to sniff, pee, and poop. And I just, you know, uh, lectured this person about not sniffing. However, I always make my dogs. Hey, what's up? What's going on, man? I always make my dogs heel and earned that freedom to sniff, pee, and poop. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. All right, guys. Those of you who are watching, feel free to ask any question you like. I am here for, I don't know, another 30 minutes answering some questions. But we are talking about the most misunderstood behavior. When your dog gets out. Oh, greetings from Turkey. Yeah, nice. Awesome. Do you have a dog? And if so, what kind? If you have a dog who is, I hear a lot of people say, "Oh, he's friendly. He's just saying hi." Stop it. Stop with the madness. He's not just saying hi. Even though it didn't result in aggression. It doesn't mean The dog was just honestly wanting to say hi because it wouldn't be so adamant about it. Right? Okay. People on leash or dogs on leash going nuts on leash. He just wants to play. No, 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 mm-mm. No. He doesn't just want to play. He's frustrated because he can't do what he wants to do. And he's frustrated that he thinks he needs to go over there to figure it something out. That's why he wants to go over there. It's the same reason why dogs bark from inside the house, why dogs bark from behind the fence, why dogs bark from inside the crate, and why dogs bark on leash. It's all barrier frustration. And yes, it can look happy, but you know it's out of control. So it's not just happiness. If it was happiness, it would be a nice casual wag, like this. You understand that the high wag means insecurity. The low wag also means insecurity. But that middle wag like that, oh, that means balance because it's usually nice and slow. It's not, the high wag is really high, right? Really fast. And the low wag is really fast. But that middle right there, that balance, see, that's how you know balance is so important because the tail tells you, the dog's tail tells you how they're feeling. And that's why balance is so important in dog training. Because if you're too high, not good. If it's too low, not good. If it's right in the middle, you know that the dog is balanced in that situation. If the tail's too high, the dog's trying to say, hey, look how big I am. I'm big. I know, because I'm not sure. I'm not sure about this situation. So I want to seem big as possible. And then if it's super low, it's like I'm trying to be small because I don't want to be noticed. Again, not balanced. But right in the middle is a very balanced dog. All right. So keep that in mind, guys. Very important. Okay. Rachel says, I was just at the vet and pissed off two owners by blocking their dog from saying hi to my dog. And I just thought to myself, Jeremy would approve, so I didn't care that the owners were grumpy with me. See, that's what I'm talking about right there. Okay. You got to be your dog's advocate, and they know that. If you have a dog that has those needs where they just, well, all owners should not allow dogs to just come up to them. No, because you don't know that dog. But you will lose trust from your dog, man. Your priority is to make sure your dog feels safe with you. And when it's on leash, it's already going to be more insecure because it can't deal with pressure in a way that won't. It's just more risky because the dog can't go away. So you have to tell people or dogs or kids to go away somehow, some way. Especially if you have a nervous dog and you don't want them to be nervous. You can't force them to be interacted with because some dogs are bad, and meaning outside dogs, they will come up to your dog trying to dominate, and your dog be like, man, you just let this dog violate me on leash. So now the dog sees another dog on leash and goes, please stay away. And it may even look excited, like we were saying. But dogs don't greet each other like that if they're off leash. They don't jump on their hind legs and start barking at each other. They don't do that. Not a social dog anyway. So yeah. It's just misunderstood, guys. The dog's not trying to say hi. The dog is frustrated that it can't do or can't handle the situation the way it thinks it needs to. And it's up to us to really show them that. All right. You guys have any questions about anything that I said or anything in general? Any questions? Feel free to ask. Yeah. I had a late start this morning. I had to plow my driveway. We had a snowstorm up here. I think we got like 4 or 5 inches. And so I had to, my kid went to school early on or at a later time. I had to get the driveway clean, the cars clean, and obviously the dogs out, fed, and doing their thing. Um, and then and now I'm here. So um, yeah. So all right, guys. Any final questions you have for me? Otherwise, I'm gonna get out of here. I really wanted to get this message out there to the people because I do think it will help a lot of people to understand what they should be taking control of and what they shouldn't allow, and how to go about it. So, if you found this message at all helpful to you and you think you know that there's someone who could benefit from hearing it, please share it. Um, Otherwise, please like it as well. It helps other people see it. Um, we'll be here next Wednesday. And yeah, okay. Let me go through the dogs and how they are doing because people are asking. All right, guys. So first and foremost, let's go with Kira, the German Shepherd. So I was just on a walk. I don't see many dogs when I'm walking, but I just saw my neighbor has 2 dogs and they were walking, and we were walking, and all that Kira did was look. That's it. No barking, no nothing. Just was cruising with me and was kind of looking, checking over. Okay. Which is awesome. She's doing great. We've come a long way with her anxiety. Holy crap. But she's just a typical hyper German Shepherd who wants to have their nose in everything. If you have a German Shepherd, you know what I'm talking about. They will keep their nose up your high knee as much as they're allowed. They really will. Okay. And I don't care, where the dog came from. If it's comfortable enough to be up your butt, it can also take direction from you. They are very smart dogs. You know this. We know this. German Shepherds are very smart, very in tune with body language and consistency, and they will read you. And they will read you better than most dogs. And they will get in where they fit in. They simply will try and take space. And if we allow and allow and allow, then again, it's not the dog being bad. It's us allowing them to be too controlling. And rightly so. If they don't think anything is off limits, how can you blame the dog? Okay. So we have to start putting those boundaries together. Okay. I'm getting off topic. All right, let's go with Castile. Castile is doing awesome as well. He also has the German Shepherd. I got 2 German Shepherds, and they're the same. They're mostly German Shepherds that I train are all the same. They're just up their owner's butt and around the corner. But he's also we're also working both of these German Shepherds. Also, once they get comfortable with dogs, in the sense where they don't think they have to fight them, they want to try and dominate them. So we've been working hard with both Castile and Kira, not having to want to control my dogs. Like, it's very common that when my dogs play, they want to go over there. And so I'm like, nope, you don't have to do that. Go away. Because again, you're doing them a favor if you break the obsessiveness of a behavior. There should be dogs that can play and you don't have to go over there. There should be dogs that can play, make noise, bark, and again, the typical German Shepherd is going to be like, "Oh, let me go over there and try and stop it." It's like, no, go chill, go relax. We got this. You're fine. Okay, so both of them are also elevating their social thing when it comes to dogs. Just it's very, very important that they allow things to happen and not have to be, involved. Okay. So, but very good. Doing great. Love it. Cloud, my newest project. He's doing great too. He has, after our first day was our roughest day. I mean, because he did not want me to put a collar on him and he threw a fit. He does not like, because of how dominant he was. So now he's just being he's very quiet now. He's just kind of still soaking it all in. And I'm taking it slow with him too. I got to be honest. I want to give him enough time to feel really comfortable before I start um, doing some really heavy lifting when it comes to training. And that just involves asking a lot more of him. I want to take that slow. I don't want to ask too much of him too soon, because I don't want a fallout of relationship. We're still relationship building because he's still kind of in denial. He's kind of like, dogs will go through a denial phase where they're like, I don't want to listen to you because I just want to be home and comfortable. I want to be where it was so easy to do whatever the hell I wanted to do. So some dogs will just be like, they'll kind of be like, oh, I'm still in just tolerating mode. You know what I mean? Where I want to get the dog to a place where he says, okay, let's have some fun. Let's open up. Let's be vulnerable. And he's even like that with the dogs too. He really has no interest just yet of interacting with my dogs. He's just kind of hanging out. But that will all change given enough time. Okay. So we're on the right path with all dogs. And I like to take my time with this. It just creates safety. I don't want to get bit, but I don't want dogs getting bit. I don't want my family getting bit. So we take our time over here. All right. All right, guys. I think that'll be enough for today. But I appreciate you guys watching. Please, again, like, share, subscribe if you haven't. And we will see you guys next week. See you later. Have a great day.